Hi everyone, do you feel like your business is not quite reflecting your true purpose? Imagine growing your business while staying true to your spiritual values. Sounds incredible, right? Now, most entrepreneurs focus solely on profits, but what if aligning your spiritual values with your business goals could lead to even greater success? Find out how right here in Talking Business with Ritz. All right, welcome back to Talking Business with Ritz, live expert interview, the show that humanizes entrepreneurship. I am Ritzel, loredo-rectra, your social media content creator and digital process automation specialist. And today, we're diving into authentic business growth. So we'll be showcasing the human behind the title before the offer. So stay tuned for insights that will transform your business journey. All right, now it's time to introduce our expert guest. All right, so Jennifer Conaway is an intuitive business strategist who has transformed the lives of many heart-led entrepreneurs. Her journey from the corporate world to guiding spiritual business owners is really and truly inspiring. So Jennifer combines her deep understanding of data with her spiritual insights to help business achieve authentic growth. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Jennifer Conaway.
Good morning or afternoon.
It's like good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Right.
All right. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. So fun to be here with you this morning.
All right. Now, let's get to know the person behind the title. I'm so excited to have you on the show and hear more about your journey. Are you ready, Jennifer?
Yes.
Okay, let's start. Here we go. All right, we are now in the Know the Expert segment, and let's start with the first question. Here we go. So, Jennifer, who is Jennifer Conaway as a person?
As a person. As a person. Um, oh, that I think that's really an interesting question.
Okay,
Because,
okay.
there's so many sides to people, but I think, from a business perspective,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, I really want to see the people that work with me. I'm really interested in seeing who they are, what they're about, what makes them unique, what makes them special. To me, that's what's fascinating about somebody. Um, and I think when I think about it, it's not just people. I also have that same thing with like dogs and horses, but
Mm-hmm.
but I think especially for
Right.
people because when it comes to business, my experience and what I've noticed is that that's actually one of the things that's missing is that willingness to deeply understand somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think my heart sits is in that space to really want to deeply understand somebody. And, that fulfills my mission because it helps me help them get their message out to the world. And the world needs everybody's message right now, you know?
Right, right. Okay, now, so that's let me soften this one. All right, so that's Jennifer Conway as a person. Okay, now can you tell us a bit more about how you transitioned from corporate world into an intuitive business strategist?
Sure. That was fun. I worked for a Fortune 100 for a
Mm-hmm.
while, a big tech company, and I was, the square peg that everybody was trying to jam into the round hole.
Mm-hmm.
And on the one hand, it was great because they kept finding these unique opportunities for me, things that other people didn't necessarily want to do or know how to do them. And eventually they put me in a position with a great big corporate project and asked me to do all of the surveying and the customer relationship and the strategy analysis from the data point. I am not a math girl. I failed algebra 2, had to take it twice, and could never figure out why I would use math in my day-to-day life. And then I got that role and really quickly learned that when you can take numbers, turn them into something that somebody else can really understand, you
Uh-huh.
have the power to change the entire direction of a corporate-wide project. And I started to think about that has so much impact then on the business. Well, how does that play out for a small business, right? Or a smaller business, a business that's not doing $1 billion, right?
Yes, yes.
And so eventually I got tired of being that square peg and started my own coaching business where one of the things they talked about all the time was open rates for emails and then how that translates to actually your sales numbers. And that's kind of what gave me the push to go, oh, this is where I need to be. So I actually went to work for one of the most well-known personal development online marketers in the country, ran her multi-million-dollar mastermind for about 7 years. And it was cool because it was like running a business within a business.
Wow.
And I got to work with all kinds of entrepreneurs, people that had grown, bought, and then sold, and then bought again, like multi-million-dollar businesses, people that had, their outline for their business on the napkin they got at the bar. But
Interesting.
right, yeah, it was pretty amazing. But it was one of those, it was a business in a box situation, and it didn't work for everybody. So I always had the privilege of working with the people that it didn't necessarily work for. And
Mhm.
that's really when it dawned on me that there needs to be someone that people can go to when they can't figure out how to color outside the box,
Mhm.
right? When they really want to be authentic and bring their beautiful, unicorny, unique self to their business. And that's why I thought, oh, that's actually kind of me. Like I have that spiritual bent. I don't tick all the boxes,
Mhm.
but I have the background to be able to help those folks. And that's when I started Conscious Business Answers, because I knew that by working with people that were in the same space, we could make a difference.
Exactly, exactly. And a lot of people really need someone like you, especially when they are starting and they don't know what to do in terms of like, okay, they've set up all their back end system, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then what's next?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
where you come in, right?
Yeah, definitely. There's that space, definitely. And then the other space I find I'm really able to help people is when they've kind of reached a plateau in their business and they're ready to get to that next phase of growth, but they
Mm-hmm.
aren't sure how to get there. Or they know they need a strategic plan to get there, but aren't sure how to put it together. Or maybe they've been trying to get there, haven't been able to,
Yeah,
and need somebody from the outside to look at the business. Because, from the outside, we see things that you don't see in your own business. And it's the same thing
exactly.
with me. You know, I have a coach because I can't see what I need to for myself or in my own business.
Yes. It's really very hard to look inside rather than when you see other businesses. It's easier for you to, okay, I can do process audit for you, business
Right.
process audit for you. But when in terms of your own business, should I do this, should I do that?
It gets, because we have all the emotions tied up. We
Mm,
have the concerns about it used to work like this. Why isn't it working now? I'm going
yeah.
to
Very true.
heaven forbid I have to change and grow. That's a challenge. It just is. Even if you love to do it and you're good at it, it's still a challenge. So
Yes.
having somebody in your corner to help you through all that makes a huge difference.
Right. Okay, now I do have a follow-up question, Jennifer. So, could you tell us about a key experience or any lesson learned while starting your business, and something that you would want to share with our fellow online entrepreneurs?
Mhm. Take a risk. Now, qualify that with, I know that just starting your own thing, even if it's a side hustle,
Mm-hmm.
can feel like a risk. But it is easy to get stuck in the rut of, this is what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
This is starting to feel, I don't know if easy is the right word, but maybe not hard. Um, but growth only happens when you take a risk. And even when even when you fail, and even if you fail miserably, I used to tell people that worked for me this:
Mm-hmm.
I would rather you fail spectacularly than not do anything at all. If you're right, I mean, if you're failing in this huge way, there's so much to learn. You are, and it builds resilience, it builds emotional intelligence, it builds this whole background that you can then use to move yourself forward. And I know it doesn't always feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
feel pretty rotten for a little bit, but take the risk, find the nugget. And sometimes taking that risk can just mean doing something in the way that feels good to you, in that authentic way, like you mentioned.
Right. I love that. Find that golden nugget in all this failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then pick yourself up and move forward.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing. All right. Now it's time for the lightning round of question. Here we go. Are you ready, Jennifer?
Yes, let's go.
All right. First question. What is your favorite word and why?
My favorite word.
Yep.
Um, context. Uh,
Context.
context, because you never know what's happening for somebody else, or what the broader meaning of a situation is, or it's all about it. It helps me to be as non-judgmental as possible, to be as kind and compassionate as possible. Um, yeah, so context.
All right. Now, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I would love to fly.
Okay.
I, I don't like planes. Like I say, I don't like planes. I don't actually like having my feet off the ground, but
Huh?
so it's counterintuitive, but
Yeah.
I think I would love to fly.
How would you fly without leaving the your leaving the
Oh
ground?
no. I don't know. I didn't say it made sense.
All right. All right. Okay. Next question. Morning ritual.
Morning ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the alarm goes off. I snuggle the dogs for a minute, and then I actually spend about 2 hours going through social media, which
2 hours.
I know is exactly what they say not to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I have never really liked social media, and it's been a journey for me to get to the point where I actually like interacting on it.
Ah.
And I like, DMing people and chatting, and I've gotten to like that piece. But I also know if I get up out of bed, start my day, I'll
Mhm.
find other things to do, and it'll
Right.
never get done. I'll take the walk, I'll stitch, I'll do this, that, whatever. So if I do it first thing in the morning, I get it done. I feel good. I've connected with a bunch of people. So yeah, I know it's not common wisdom to do that, but it worked for me.
Yeah. All right. Now, favorite book. What's
Favorite-
your favorite book?
The Four Agreements.
The Four
So,
Agreements.
yeah, I read that. I bet I was 22 when I read that. So it was more than 30 years ago now. But yeah, because I constantly come back to it, constantly.
What
So,
is it about? Now I'm
oh,
curious.
it's about basically four agreements you make with yourself to, let's see, don't take anything personally, always do your best. And I love that one because your best is not always the same.
Yes, exactly.
It's very different on different days. Don't take anything personally, always do your best. I'll see now. I'm going to,
We have to review. Okay, I have to find that book.
but it's Paulo Coelho. Um, yeah,
Okay.
always do. See, that's going to make me nuts
All
now.
right. Let's leave it at that. Okay. Who inspire you the most?
I think it's been several people, depending on what it is. There, there's a friend of mine who is unapologetically always, always her authentic self, always. And sometimes I'm like, how can you do that? But she is so much in her element that it's a beautiful thing to watch at the same time. And, I get kind of jealous because I'm good at being authentic. I'm really good at it, I think.
Yeah.
And I could be better.
We
um,
all can do better.
right. We
Yes.
all can do better. I think, my husband actually inspires me because he is not of this spiritual world that you and I are familiar with, and
Mhm.
he has embraced every piece of me and is so interested in just learning regardless of whether or not he agrees. I think there's another one of those sayings that you kind of live by, and mine is like seek to understand.
Mhm.
And that's really where he comes from all the time. And to me, that's amazing.
How sweet. All right. I'm gonna jump to another topic. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs, definitely. I can hear.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got two that, of course, are noisy right now.
Fine. I'm a cat and dog, so no worry
I,
about that.
I do.
No worry
Cats,
about that.
cats have a very special place.
Yes, they
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
All right. See, hi there. Quiet a little bit. I have to talk to your mommy. All right. Now, what's one thing most people don't know about you?
Let's see. When I was in high school, I played the piano, the flute, the piccolo, and the oboe.
Wow.
And now I play nothing. I think I kind
Right.
of overdid it. you know?
Okay. You're so funny. All right. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea.
I
All right.
love the smell of coffee. Can't drink it.
Okay. Now, in 3 words, how would your friends describe you?
Funny,
Hmm?
spiky,
Right.
honest.
Very nice. Okay. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Be yourself, man. Spent too much time either covering up my authentic self with cynicism and pushing people away, you know, and God, if I could have just been myself from day one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome, awesome. Jennifer, we really appreciate you opening up and sharing more about yourself. This is a very awesome interview, I can see. And yes, you deserve this.
This is fun.
Enjoying this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. And for everyone joining us live, keep sending in those questions for our Q&A sessions. So now let's shift gears and move to our next segment. And I know this is going to be packed with valuable insights, so don't go away, don't go anywhere. All right. All right, welcome back, amazing fan bams. Now let's dive into the heart of today's discussion. How can we achieve authentic business growth? So stay tuned, stay with us here at Learn from the Expert segment. So let's start with the first topic. Let me flash it on the screen. Here we go. All right, so our first topic is strategic planning is crucial element for business success. So Jennifer, can you start by explaining what strategic planning entails and why is it so essential for business success?
Yeah. So strategic planning is really thinking about your business from the 100,000 or 200,000 foot level
Mhm.
to start, right? Where do you want to go? What do you want the business to be? How do you want it to look? How do you want to be in the business and in the world and even in your personal life? Um,
Mhm.
and then once you've got that laid out, or you have a good, strong understanding of that, how how does that impact your business? And from that, what kind of uh, programs do you need to put in place to achieve the kind of business you want, the kind of life you want, the revenue you want? But it's about starting at the top and
Mhm.
then digging down into each part of your business. What does your revenue need to look like? What do your programs need to look like? How often do you need to release a program or go through a sale? Do you want to do live events or not? Um, Once you really start to get that mapped out,
Mhm.
then it's taking each one of those individual pieces and breaking it down into tasks. I mean, you can get really, really granular with
Mhm.
your plan then. And deciding, oh, I want to do this on this date, and it's going to require these 50 things happen.
Yeah.
Um, do you have the resources? Do you have the cash stashed away if you're going to need to lay something out in advance? But the big thing about it is that when you have a plan, I think about it like a roadmap, right? Your
Yeah.
plan is your roadmap. So if you're going down the plan, and we're all creative, we get these inspired ideas from the universe and from all kinds of places, and you think, oh, that's a great idea, I'd really love to do it. Once you have a strategic plan, you can take a look at that idea and actually ask, does it forward my plan? If it doesn't forward your plan, can you sit it over on the side and come back to it later? Right? It's
Oh,
not about completely giving it up. It's kind of like putting it up on the shelf
yeah.
until maybe you have these 3 or 4 or 5 things done and you can take a look at it. Or maybe you go, oh, I'll put that in next year's plan, because our plans
Makes sense.
shift and change, right?
Yes. Right.
And the other thing I love about the roadmap is just like when you're going on vacation and you decide to take that little side detour to see the
Mhm.
world's greatest ball of twine, you know,
Mhm.
you can do that with a roadmap, with your strategic plan. If you're like, oh, just had this great idea for a lead magnet, had never thought about it before. It would actually further what we're trying to do. It would help the strategic plan along. Let's take a few days, do that, and then come right back to the plan. So you and your team are always moving the same direction.
Great. That's very interesting. Now, what role does a clear vision play in strategic planning, and why is it important for business?
Yeah. So a clear vision is, I think it's pretty critical. It's it's the difference between deciding that you're going to move to Texas
Hmm.
or you're going to move to Austin. So clear vision, you can really easily drill down into exactly what you need to do to reach that vision. If your vision is muddy and say the size of the state of Texas, it's
Hmm.
hard to pick, like, what are the tasks we need to do to get there? What is the overarching direction we want to go? And quite frankly, if you don't have a clear vision, it's very hard to communicate with the team. There's a great example. There's a friend of mine who has a business. I'm not really sure what the business is because she doesn't have a clear vision. I mean, her vision is scattered all over the place. And, I know it's very easy for people that consider themselves multi-potentialites or are just really good at a lot of different things. It's very
Hmm.
easy to say, no, 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 I want to do all of them because I'm really great at all of them. And yes, that's great. And it is very, very hard to get any kind of real lasting traction
Hmm.
when you're talking about two or three or four things all at the same time.
Right.
Very hard. It's very confusing for people that are looking into your business.
Hmm.
So, I mean, and there are ways to get around that, but I always get really clear on your vision and get it as succinct and specific as possible.
Right. Yeah, I can relate to that because I can do a lot of things. I can offer a lot of things. I can. So it's like, okay, what will I do?
What
If
do
I
you
say
do?
I'm going to focus on one thing, okay, which one?
Right. And that is always the thing, right? Which one are you going to focus on?
Which
But
one?
but
Yes.
that if you pick one and focus on it for 6 months, you're going to get so much more traction than if you pick one, focus on it for a week and a half and focus on this thing for 10 days and then go launch this other thing that's not related seemingly to these. And yeah, so there are ways to uh, I guess braid in
Hmm.
different pieces of who you are, but it takes a little bit of work, and a strategic plan then gets really important.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Now, this. Why is setting clear and measurable goals so important in strategic planning?
Ah, goals. um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the measuring part is probably the most important, and I say that because when you understand what social platforms are working for you,
Mm.
what kind of marketing works for you, what programs your potential clients like more than anything else, how they really prefer to work for you, you become so much more efficient and so much more effective than if you're kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And the easiest way to figure out which of those things are working really well is to actually look at the numbers.
Right.
It's so social media is a good example, because if you're on Facebook and Instagram and I don't know, TikTok and
Yeah.
Twitter and Reddit, and like that is a lot to keep track of. That's a ton to keep track of. And But if you go in and look at your numbers and say, okay, I have a pile of followers in Instagram, and I have a whole nother pile over on Reddit, but I've got nothing in those other things, or very, very small followings, then there's a good chance that you really don't need to be those other places because your customers aren't there.
Mhm.
So
Makes sense. Yes.
so you can spend your time the place where your customers are. Right. So now, like, if you're somebody like me, where I go, okay, I have X amount of time set aside to do this, I can really focus that time on the places I need to be.
Right. So follow on question on that. How long would they need to do that? I mean, to test the market or to test whatever social platform, to know where their ideal clients or their, yeah,
Yeah.
customers are.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't, I personally think it's something you need to keep your eye on over the long term.
Mhm.
If you've got an OBM or somebody that does your social media for you, having them
Mhm.
take a look at those numbers once a month so they know that you're growing, or they can see if there begins to be a trend where things start to fall off. I think email open rates and newsletter open rates are good for this too, because um, if you've got a really good open rate of, say, 28-30% consistently, and all of
Mhm.
a sudden that open rate really starts to fall off, that's pretty critical. I mean, you need to know that. You need to take a look then at, what has changed about what you're putting out, and,
Mhm.
dig into that. So is it that, I don't know, maybe all of a sudden your people only want to watch videos instead of looking at an email? So they're not even opening your emails at all. But it's it helps to keep you in touch with where the business is and how it's doing, with where your customers are, how they're doing, with if you've got growth plans in place, lets you know if your growth plans are doing what you want them to do, you
Mhm.
know. And it helps you to uh, shift a little bit your plans a little bit. And that's why that strategic planning, when you look at that, and say you've got a launch in your strategic plan, and you try a few, you have your marketing plan, so you
Mhm.
start to put that in place. But if you're watching your numbers, you'll know if that marketing plan is working for your clients and your customers, right?
Right.
So you're not just watching the number at the end, sorry, you're watching the work of the things you're putting out in the very beginning. So if they're not landing right, you can shift right away.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
you have to watch the data to understand that. And, it's not as big and scary as we all think it is. I thought it was big and scary too. Then I figured out how to use it.
Yes, yes. So like I'm a social media content creator, right? So
Mm-hmm.
formerly I'm doing the strategy, but I shifted to content creation, so I'm more happy with that one. So content strategy is more appealing to me. So what I notice is we give like 3 months data. We have to collect that. That is for like brand awareness
Mm-hmm.
when a business is just starting.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what we do. 3 months, and then collect the data and study which one is working and which one is not.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the next 3 months, that's where we double down on the things that are working.
Yeah,
It's yeah, it's like an addition to what you mentioned. Look at the
mhm.
data and see, study it and do what is working. Do more of that.
Do more of that, right? It's because you're more effective, you're more efficient, like, just like you said, you make more growth, more brand awareness.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And
Right.
it's a lot easier than trying to figure it out, I don't know, by any other
Yes,
method, I think.
exactly, exactly. All right, now these are or those are whatever we've discussed right now so far are very, very incredible insights. And now we've discussed about strategic planning for our business. Now let's dive into how we can connect with our target audience. This is a very interesting topic. All right, so connect with your audience is the title. I'm just reading it out. Connect with your audience, the art of talking to your target market. So, um, Jennifer, understanding your target market is very crucial, right? How can business owners really identify and understand their audience effectively?
Yeah, I think there are two ways to kind of two pieces that I look at it. I'm sorry, my dog's jumping up at me right
It's
now.
okay. No
Uh,
worries.
there are two ways. You've got your potential clients, right? And then you have the folks that are on your inner circle that
Mm,
know all about you, have been with you for a long time, understand your quirky language,
yeah.
right? They understand your quirky language. They understand what your made up words mean or
Yeah.
the context for a certain word that a potential client may not understand. And
True.
so I think it's really important to take the time to talk to both of those groups
Mm-hmm.
to understand how they're different. You know, if you're talking about spirituality to your inner circle,
Mm-hmm.
you have a special language just for them. And there are times when, if you use that language with your potential clients, they won't actually know what it means.
Yep.
Um, and I was just working with a six-figure client the other day, and she's really struggling with this right now because she's another one that is very, very unique, has this whole lexicon that if you're
Mhm.
not in her inner circle, it's tough
You
to
won't
follow.
understand.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
um, so when she writes like her newsletter out to her list or puts something on Facebook and uses that language, it's very hard to get through what she's saying. It's very hard to understand what she's really talking about. And whenever something gets difficult, people bail, right? If you
Right.
don't know, if you read a sentence and think, what was that about? There,
Exactly.
there are how many other posts you could be reading instead? So you just keep going. And the bottom line with our culture right now is that we really want to be satisfied quickly. We want to get it and move on, get it and move on.
Right. Right. Right.
So this is it's so important that when you're putting general information out to your social media platforms, on your email list, on just anything where you're really trying to reach out to new people, that you use basic, for lack of a better word, language, but language that is easily understood.
Yeah.
And that's
True.
really where I find so many business owners kind of have a difficulty and really struggle, is that they
Indeed.
don't.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Right. So, like in creating content, right? Especially those that resonates.
Hmm.
Normally, like you said, uses very simple language. Like even a 10-year-old or 15-year-old would definitely understand.
Hmm.
And like for myself, a technical person, right? 23 years of just talking to the computer. Technical people, IT people. So when we talk like we talk like robots. When we talk IT.
Yeah, I mean, if you spoke like that to me, I'd have no idea what you were talking
Exactly.
about. I'd
I
be
have
so
a
lost.
client. Yes, I have a client who who's who is teaching how to do master classes, right? So when I'm doing her technical stuff. So when I talk to her, I'm talking technical. So I know you're telling me something,
Yeah.
but it sounded German to me. So it's like I have to learn how to talk the way she would understand,
Hmm.
right? To explain it the way she would understand, so things can move forward.
Right.
So I believe it's the same thing when we post something.
Hmm.
So I'm
Hmm.
learning, I'm learning how to do that, right?
Hmm. It is.
Hmm.
We work so hard to make our language as clear as possible for our specific, um,
Audience, yeah.
right, for our specific audience, that then to take it and make it really simple feels awkward. And
Yes,
yeah, but it is the thing that will draw people in.
exactly. But then sometimes when we talk about authenticity, right, it doesn't sound authentic anymore.
No, and I get that. It doesn't sound authentic anymore, but what I always say to people is, okay, it doesn't sound authentic to you, but if you imagine that it's physics
Yep.
and somebody is trying to explain physics to you and you don't know anything about it. Now, what they're saying to you, does that feel authentic
Um,
if they put it in words that you understand?
well, if you say it like that, then it'll be authentic to them who is actually reading your content,
Right,
right?
right,
And that is what we are aiming, right?
right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's the middle school authentic version of you.
Right.
Right.
Okay. All right. Now, building trust with your audience is very essential. So, having being authentic,
Hmm.
when we relate our message to them, must be authentic to them, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
what are some strategies for building trust aside from that, and strong relationships with your target market?
Yeah. Um, so let's see. So I talk about these kind of three pillars in the context of creating profitability, but they also create trust and that know, like, and trust factor in with your clients.
Right.
But I think sharing vulnerably is one of them. And I know in our current environment, it's really easy to trash talk people that share vulnerably. Super easy, right? Because you're
Yes.
anonymous. Really, you're anonymous. But I also think that if you do it with sensitivity and with love, more people are going to see that side of you and see that side of it. So it's pretty. I think that's pretty important. And of course, there are certain things you really need to be careful of when you're sharing vulnerably. Um,
Mm.
you don't want to share anything that is going to reflect badly on you or your clients or your peers, whoever it is that you're talking about, unless, of
Yeah.
course, you have permission from them and it's a rags to riches story, right?
Right.
Um, and even some of the stories, and you may do the same thing that I tell about myself. I don't necessarily look great when the story starts, but I learn from it, right?
Yeah. True.
And that's so being careful about things like that. Being careful to not share information about people that don't want it shared. Like, my husband is not really on social, so you might see his back, but you don't see his face. But
Same here.
yeah, but I can still share about us and things that we do and how it impacts my life.
Yeah.
Um, talking about the way you're spirituality impacts your business can feel really vulnerable for some people. For other people, it's not as as touchy. Um,
Mhm.
but here's the thing to remember is people, when you're sharing a story about it, they don't expect you to explain the origin story of yoga and all the
Yeah,
different,
yeah, yeah.
they're
True.
not, they just want to know, like, what was the specific thing for you that changed you in that moment. So
Exactly.
yeah, so we let our heads get in the way,
Mhm.
you know. So
Right.
there's vulnerable sharing, there's being in alignment
Mhm.
with.
Are we talking about the three pillars now?
Yeah, actually, these are the three pillars, but they directly impact
All right. Would
authenticity.
you like to jump to that now, to
Sure,
that
let's do that.
topic? All right. All right. Let's do that. Okay. These are the third topic would be the three pillars of profitability. You blend spirituality with business success. Okay. Continue on.
Okay, so
Right.
all three of these, so the three pillars are sharing
Your
vulnerably,
vulnerabilities.
alignment, and redefining productivity.
All right.
And sharing vulnerably and alignment all impact our connection to our customers and to our clients and to that content, know, like, and trust.
Mm-hmm.
um, the the business piece about sharing vulnerably is that if you're eliminating like an entire category of yourself, so
Mm-hmm.
say all the spirituality pieces, and you're not utilizing that and harnessing that for content, you're eliminating a huge amount of content that you could be sharing with your clients, your prospects, that really makes you you, right? It is the thing that often separates you from somebody else. And I don't mean separates like at odds separates, but you have your version of it, they have
Mm-hmm.
their version, and not everybody is going to resonate with both of those, but your version is going to resonate with a lot of people that will want to work with you, and it's
Mm. Okay.
so important because it gives people a choice point, right?
Yeah.
um,
Right.
when you look at alignment, I think especially around spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
how your spiritual values manifest in your business matters. And so what I mean by that is if you have a value around uh, sales that is that you want the sale to be of service and come from love,
Yeah.
so that it doesn't feel icky and pushy. You're not talking somebody into the sale.
Yeah.
That's that value needs to show up in your business, because if you're putting together a sales cycle that is actually pushy and just the opposite of what your personal belief is, it's not going to work for all kinds of reasons. But first of all, you're not aligned to that at all. Your body, your mental, your guides, your nobody you're working with is aligned to that. So it's not going to work for you. It's going to feel bad. It's going to feel like a block all the time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that makes a tremendous difference. If you're talking about, again, content, right? And things that you're aligned with. And if you're not, it's much more difficult to pull things out of content you're writing than to put it in. So for instance, I sit down, I write a blog every week. I
Mm-hmm.
never go into the with the intention of talking about something spiritual in my blog, but
Mm-hmm.
90% of the time something shows up, even if I'm just like, so I asked the universe, something like that. But it takes so much time. Well, imagine if I wasn't talking about that in my business, how much time does it take for me to go and pull all that information out? Or for my team to go pull out that information out because I'm not sharing that piece of me. It's not in alignment with my business.
Yeah.
And the thing that I run into is people will say, well, people don't like the spiritual part. They'll be turned off by it. How many people have you talked to lately that aren't spiritual, but
Mm-hmm.
have some kind of what is actually a spiritual practice? They meditate, they do yoga, they, um, go outside to ground. It is a completely different world than it was even 20 years ago.
Exactly. Yes.
So, yes, that used to be true. It no longer is. Um, I had a woman move from Colorado to North Carolina. She sold her
Mm-hmm.
business in Colorado, wanted to start a new business here, wasn't really sure what she wanted to do. So she was looking at consultants to work with to help her build her new business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she looked at about 40 different consultants and
Wow.
right,
That many.
yeah, and decided to work with me because I talked about my spirituality. You know, that's the kind of stuff like you can't make that shit up. That's
Exactly.
yeah. Um, so there's that around alignment, and then redefining productivity is huge. We've been taught, most of us, I think some of the newer generations not so much, but most of us have been taught that to be productive, you have to actively be doing something. You have to be writing content. You have to be working with the client. You have to be insert whatever it is that you do, right?
Yeah.
Running a
Mm.
yoga class, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But when you look at how you spend your time every day and the things that you do to keep yourself grounded, connected, and actually doing in a way that is in alignment and authentic with who you are,
Mm-hmm.
there is probably a list of things you do that normally wouldn't be considered productive. And yet they directly impact how
Your
you
business.
feel. Right.
Yeah.
So, for instance, every day I take at least one walk. Uh, you could say that's not productive time, except that for me, it's my time to ground. It's my time to connect with my guides. It's a perfect time for me to just, all these ideas come to me, right? Things even happen on the walks that turn into blogs the next day or
Wow.
turn into memes because it's just, something happens and I'm like, oh, that could happen in business too.
Yeah.
But it's, so if I define that time as not productive, I did the math one time. It's something like 317 hours a year that I spend taking walks. That's a huge amount of time.
Yeah, but it's a year.
But it's a year, but it's also like it's it is productive time for me. It's highly productive time. And if I wasn't doing it, then it would be so much more difficult for me to sit down and look at the marketing copy I need to review because I'm not grounded. I'm not connected. Right? So something that could take me 20 minutes now takes me an hour and a half.
Right.
So
Right.
really redefining what productivity means to you and to your business,
Mm-hmm.
and then also to your clients. Because if you're not grounded, you're not connected, but you're going to have a client meeting, they're obviously not going to get the very best of you.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
And we want them to. So take a look at the things that you're doing that you're saying aren't productive right now
Right.
and ask, how do they impact my business? How did
Right.
they impact my mental health?
Right.
Right? my physical health. All of those things are intricately tied to your business. You're not, a Cylon or a robot just coming in, sitting down, doing that, right?
Exactly. We cannot do that. Like for myself, a content creator, right?
Mm-hmm.
I create contents for one particular client, actually two of them. So if like you're saying, if I'm not aligned with myself, I won't be able to produce what they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it shows in the product.
Yes.
So there'll be like a lot of revisions. What it does not like it doesn't relate, or it doesn't give the right energy,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, so let me recuperate 1 hour, 1 day, okay. I'll come back to you after that.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So the time that you spend doing something like what you said, when you're not really like aligned to yourself, it'll take more time to produce rather than when you're aligned. It's like, whoop, there,
Exactly.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right. All right. So this really is a fantastic live expert interview that we are having right now. So now we're jumping to the Q&A session, section, or segment. All right. Let me just remove this banner and let's play the segment title. Here we go. All right. So one particular question here is right. Here we go. How do I start creating a strategic plan if I've never done it before?
Good question.
Right.
Um, get really clear on where you want the business to go. And you can start small. Where do you
Mm-hmm.
want it to be in the next 90 days?
Oh, 90 days.
Yeah,
Right.
you don't. Uh, it's a much bigger thing to look at where you want it to be in the next year, but where do you want it to be in the next 90 days? And it doesn't have to be um, massively different from where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
It can be simple. It can be you want to grow your social media by X or Y, or grow your email list by X or Y. But the strategy will be the overarching, how do you want to do this? You want to uh, build, I'm trying to think about a good way to say it. You want to build your um, social media with,
Mm-hmm.
authenticity and ease, and you want to, but it can be a simple overarching statement about how you want to do that. And then break down each one of those things into individual tasks that need to get done. And the first time you break it down, this is where people get hung up sometime. But I don't know, what's the first task? What's the second task? Just
Mm-hmm.
brain dump all the things.
Right.
Don't worry about putting them in order right away. Just brain dump all the things. You can put them in order later.
Right. Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's where I would start.
All right. Now, how often? Where's the next one? How often should I review and update my strategic plan?
At least once a year,
Once a year.
unless, yeah, unless you have a major event. Um, and by that, I mean, it could be something in your daily circumstance changes,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be maybe that big sales event that you did and you
Mm-hmm.
were hoping to sell 10, you sold 50. Or maybe you were hoping to sell 50 and you sold 10. Right.
Right. Right.
Those things can, alter your strategic plan for the rest of the year. So that's when you really need to sit down and take another look at it.
Right. I would like the 10 and sold 50.
Yes, exactly. That's the one we all would love.
Okay. Next question. What's the simple way to identify my target market if I'm just starting out.
Who do you absolutely adore working with? Who would you work with over and over and over and over again every time? Even if it's just, you know, you only say you've worked with 5 people, pick the person or the 2 people. What are the characteristics that you absolutely loved working with them? What made them?
Right. Okay. Now, how do I? Where is it? Where's the other question? How can I keep? There we go. How can I keep my audience engaged without overwhelming them?
That's interesting because, and I say that's interesting because every audience is a little bit different.
Yep.
Um, so I think finding out what kind of content they like the most
Mm-hmm.
helps. And then, you know, some of it is going to be watching that data.
Right.
And okay, so many things in my head. Um, but so you say, okay, how do I find out what they like to watch or how they like to get their content?
Yeah.
Throw up a poll in Facebook, throw out a poll in your email or however it is that you communicate with them and ask, do you want to get information from me in a newsletter? Do you prefer it in video? You know, just ask them, they'll tell you. Then the other thing is when you're creating things like newsletters,
Mm-hmm.
videos, anything informational, keep it succinct and
Mm-hmm.
focused on one area or around one topic. What I find people do is that, like, they'll take a topic like strategic planning and then drill the whole way down through it. And
Right.
now you've got a 30-minute video or a 5-page email or, you know, and people are absolutely going to get overwhelmed with that. So pick just one piece of strategic planning. Say, how to decide what you want your business life to look like. How do you figure that piece of it out? And go into that piece and keep it succinct. You know, give a few examples and a little bit of information. People, I know we have so much to share, so much inside of us, right? So much that we want everybody to get because we know it's going to change their life.
Mm-hmm.
If they're getting overwhelmed, if they're not reading it, if they're not looking at it, it's not changing anything. So if you can give them little bites, give them, you know, eat the elephant one bite at a time.
Okay. I would like to eat the cake though.
Okay, yes, eat the cake. I'm with you on that, by the way.
All right, thank you. All right, now last question. I think this one is for you. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from working with heart-led entrepreneurs?
We are our own worst enemy. I mean, you know, for somebody that's heart led, say you're your own worst enemy. But gosh, honestly, we are. We want to help everybody. We want to share all the information. We want to, a lot of us want that freedom to do it however we want to do it. We don't want somebody to tell us this is a better way or that's a better way or,
Yeah.
you know, we get distracted. I mean,
Yeah.
show us a movement that we want to get involved in, and all of a sudden we're all there and not working on our business.
Right.
Um, yeah, but I mean, we really are, and it's our greatest asset and our greatest weakness. You know,
Yeah.
everything has that two sides of a coin, but when you really start to harness that love in ways that can impact people it's a beautiful thing. It's a gift.
Right, right. You have to find that balance where we can help them and yet help ourselves as well.
Right. And,
Right.
and to the question just before this, it's like giving so much information that you overwhelm them.
It's quite true also.
And that's
Yes.
that's exactly it. That comes from love. That comes from the place of just wanting them to have everything they need, wanting to share and wanting to help them be better, or however you phrase it. But
Yeah.
it's it's a brilliant thing, and it's not, because you need to pull back a little bit and think about
Yeah.
how do humans actually get information and use information. So
Right. It's like talking to your friend, right? And you keep on talking and you're talking. But then your friend's eyes is like glossing already.
yes. Yes, absolutely. It is absolutely that. It's like when you've talked about this one topic for just too long.
Exactly. All right, we have more questions, but in the interest of time, we'll wrap up our Q&A here. So thank you so much, Miss Jennifer Conaway, for sharing your valuable insights with us. So now let's continue with our last segment, which is here we go. All right, so we've talked about strategic planning. We've talked about connecting authentically with our audience and also blending our spirituality with business that can significantly boost profitability. So these principles are truly transformative. All right, so as we move to work with the expert segment, Jennifer, let's talk about how our audience can work with you and benefit from your expertise. Can you let our listeners and viewers share your offers and how they can connect?
So,
Right,
yep. Let's see. One of the things, and I think we can share a link, right?
right, right,
Okay, great.
right. We can.
Yep. So I do have something that anybody can get. It's the 9 do's and don'ts of vulnerable sharing, because I find that we trip over that sometimes.
Right.
Let's see. Should I just put that in chat?
Yes, yes, and then I'm gonna just pop it out.
Let's see. Hmm, sorry, StreamYard and I aren't friends. Or I should say, we're learning to be friends.
Yes.
Okay, here we are. So 9 do's and don'ts. There you go. So that, oh, okay, the comment didn't post. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Uh, right,
But I will share it with you for sure.
right.
Um, then, so there's that. And then the other thing is that you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, and yeah, there's IG. And my website is right there. Conscious Business Answers gives you an easy way to.
Right.
I love that crawl. That's great. So you can set up 30 minutes with me, and we'll have a chat and just see if there's, if we connect, and if there's something that we can do together. I can help you build out your strategy or grow your business.
Right, right. So, to all our viewers, if you're ready to take your business to the next level, make sure to connect with Jennifer. Visit her website, which is running down below. All right, it's www.consciousbusinessanswers with the s.com. All right, explore her offers and start working with her. All right, Jennifer, your insights have been nothing but short but enlightening. So let me just remove this one.
Well,
There
thank
we
you
go.
so much. It's been so much fun to be with you this morning. I love all your random questions. I mean, the ones we did in the beginning, they're fun.
All right. I'm glad that you liked it. And it's like, it's been an hour already. Oh my God. It's like time passes so fast, right?
Yes.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Jennifer Conaway.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. And that wraps up today's episode of Talking Business with Ritz. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in. Remember, the key to growth is continual learning and adaptation, right? Keep pushing that boundaries of what you can achieve. Okay, now coming up next in Talking Business with Ritz, let me just show it on the screen. We'll be talking about how to grow your business with three simple steps. So, this is going to be a very insightful episode as well. So, mark your calendar on August 17 at 11 a.m. EST, 8 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Mountain, 10 a.m. Central, and if you are on my side of the world, that would be 11 p.m. GMT plus one. All right, so DM me your questions once again to be included in the Q&A segment. All right, Fam Bam, here we go. All right, thanks for watching and listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave your takeaways in the comment and hit that small bell to be notified for updates. All right, until next time, stay motivated, everybody, and keep thriving. So, this is Ritzel, loredo-rectra, and our expert guest, Jennifer Conaway. Stay safe and healthy as we continue talking business with Ritz.